believe me. For my small mistake, I got tied up and forced to watch my man cheat W3 women. I, female 25, love my fiancé, male 27, very deeply, and he always assured me that I'll always be the only woman in his life. Our relationship was beautiful. We've always been best friends and he was my rock, but it changed suddenly. I know that I was the one who was wrong, but did he really have to torture me like that? I deserved any punishment that he would have given me, but what he did really takes the cup because it destroyed me to the core. My fiancé Adam and I met in a business event that was happening at the restaurant that I'm owning years ago. Well, he was the one who was hosting a business dinner, so he came to my restaurant and booked the place for his function. Since that time, my restaurant was new in our small town in Barcelona. I was happy to get a chance to host a formal event in my restaurant, and it was going to be a very good kickstart for me and my business. He proposed after 6 months of dating, and that was the best thing I had ever got. Even my Nana was happy, and that was enough for my heart. It took us the whole year to think and plan what we wanted for the wedding, and when that day to start wedding preparations, I messed it all up. All because of lust and craving for something different. But as much as I had messed it all up, I paid a great price for my actions. Our marital problem started when he suddenly changed on me. Well, you know that everyone has needs, I mean sexual needs. Adam was always busy for me to the point that I would even beg him to at least have or get time to spend with me. You know when you try your utmost best to look good for him, smell good for him. I'm talking about preparing romantic dinners and wearing a sexy number just to remind him what he was missing, but he was still missing all that effort. When I got tired of trying and begging like I have no life, I decided to just get my groove back and be myself again, despite the fact that I was a married woman. I know that I should have respected my wedding vows and remained loyal to my partner like I had said on our wedding day. I won't speak as if I'm a saint or something because I am not. I love intimacy. Intimacy to me is like a stress reliever. It's something that gives me motive to go on. Y'all can't blame me. I was sexually starved in my home and I found a little something to help me. I had started looking down on myself, thinking that I would never be good enough for any man when Adam started being always busy with work and never had my time like before. Only for God to turn the tables and throw Pascal, my affair partner, to me. The best man that I had ever got to quench my sexual thirst with, and the man who truly appreciated my body and accepted me for me, and not for what I had to offer only. We had a deep connection and chemistry that no one would actually think of. Pascal was my go-to guy whenever I had a problem or sexually frustrated or hungry. Well, so one beautiful, sunny yet busy day, Pascal Smith, the guy I had an affair with, male 29, and I first met at my restaurant as I was on duty to serve and cook for my customers that day since I was short on staff. He was friendly, kind, fun, and was always willing to listen to me and my problems, you know. I couldn't help but notice how attractive he was. He had a charming smile and a confident air about him that I found irresistible. Before I knew it, we were deep in conversation, and I found myself feeling drawn to him. As time went on, I found myself drawn to Pascal's youthful energy and zest for life. I began to feel a connection with him that I hadn't felt in a long time. However, I knew that I was committed to Adam. Pascal and I were spending more time together, exploring new ventures. It was fun. I got to be free and be me again. Yes, I needed a friend to pass time with, but I felt something for Pascal. Despite my initial intentions to keep things platonic, my feelings for Pascal grew stronger each day. I found myself daydreaming about him and eagerly awaiting our conversations on a social media platform called Discord, since it was where we would communicate because I didn't want my fiancé to find out about my newly formed friendship with him. Pascal knew how to make me feel better when I would sometimes feel under the weather. He knew me from inside and outside more than my husband. He knew me when I was happy or sad, when I would be asked to tell that one negative thing that I would never forget about Adam. That one thing I would never forget is the revenge or the actions that Adam took when I came back from my affair, Pascal. It was something that I had never expected, and it still haunts me till today. Pascal and I would go to parties and visit new clubs or pubs. It was really a great experience to get to explore places and not always do boring wifely duties. The relationship or the affair that I had with Pascal really meant a lot to me because it actually gave me a chance to get to know myself well and explore my desires freely. I just wanted to have some fun, but I guess the fun had me instead. How could I be so stupid and careless? Time passed as I was busy going up and down with Pascal. Adam had noticed my behavior, and that time our relationship was under the rock. We would argue most of the time and sometimes end up going to bed angry at each other. Mind you, we had talked about going to bed angry at each other. We had agreed that no one would go to bed angry or sad because of another person. We agreed to communicate about things that we don't like and the things that make us angry to avoid going to bed with a heavy heart. But I guess everything and everyone changes.
Yep.
A lot was happening in my relationship with Adam to a point that he literally threatened me. Well, he said it was a promise, but I took it as a threat. He told me that he didn't know me anymore and that I had changed. He then said he will make something I would never forget if I ever cheat on him and he finds out. I had no control over myself, and that had started when Adam became too busy for me. One day, I couldn't resist the feelings that I had for Pascal any longer. I had to either choose to stay away from Pascal and throw away how I feel, or I confess everything. So I decided to meet Pascal in a coffee shop kilometers away from where my house is. So we arranged to meet at a local coffee shop, and my heart raced with excitement and guilt. I knew that I was about to betray my husband, but Pascal was giving me everything that I needed. So I confessed to the guy. I know it was a slutty move that I did, but I felt like confessing rather than to die with something that you had been longing to take out your chest. What surprised me was that he also felt the same way, but he wanted to keep our thing a secret because he had someone in his life, of which I understood because I also had Adam in my life. And if he was to find out about my abomination with my affair partner, he would surely lose it. Pascal's energy and mine just clicked, I don't know how, but we had that kind of connection or chemistry that I also can't explain. My husband, or must I say my ex-husband, was always traveling and leaving me alone in the house. So on my day off work times, I would go and visit my Nana and stay with her. Even our intimate moments were no longer the same. I was no longer getting it right from him. The more my husband was not available, the more my feelings for Pascal grew. We got so close. My AP was always there when I needed him. He was always available. Pascal and I had already been out several times. He made me feel alive and appreciated, What I did was wrong on so many levels. I should have ended the abomination whilst I had time, but guess what I did? I continued seeing him on the side. Well, I couldn't let go of him. I don't know why, but whenever I would think of cutting off our cheating, because he also had a girlfriend, I would feel like I would be letting go of my happiness. During that time when my husband was busy acting up, I started spending more time with Pascal. Well, Pascal was what I can call a great time passer. He helped me pass time when my ex-husband was super distant from me in our relationship. I was going through a lot, I knew my ex-husband loved me, but his behavior was stressing me out to a point that I would even find myself venting in Pascal. I know it was wrong of me to just put my relationship problems out there or share them with an AP or an outsider, but I needed someone to vent to, and Pascal was there and available. Time passed, and I continued spending more time with Pascal until Adam saw that I was no longer staying at home for long. He figured that I was spending time with another man, so he asked why I was spending more time with a guy called Pascal. I didn't know how to react. If he knew my AP's name, that meant he had been stalking me or investigating my moves. Even if I were to explain what was happening between Pascal and I, Adam was not going to believe me because he had his own mind and imaginations. Even though his imaginations were true, I couldn't confess to that. I couldn't allow my relationship to be destroyed because of an affair. On the other side, I was trying to protect what I had with Pascal. It was special to me. I knew there and then that I must have fallen hard for Pascal because I had missed his touch after a long time of not communicating with him. The way he would appreciate my body and make me feel young and carefree. I know I shouldn't have done that, but I couldn't resist. He had that soft touch that would make me want to ask him not to stop what he was doing. It was like his touch and kisses were a drug. Not to mention our intimate moments were what I had been longing for, I had been craving for the whole time. One night, Pascal and I went to have some kind of a date night under the moonlight. That was when Pascal and I kissed for the first time since we last communicated and saw each other. Our kiss was passionate and intense, and we both knew that we wanted more. I know what I did was wrong and evil, but I couldn't resist. I missed him. And the way our kiss was heated, I knew that he missed me too, even though we knew that we were doing something wrong and there were great chances to get caught. For the next few months, Pascal and I continued our affair in secret. We couldn't resist each other. He was bringing me happiness that I was not getting from my husband since he was always busy. So we would meet up at hotels or secluded parks, always making sure to keep our relationship hidden from everyone else. I know what I did was sluttish and evil, but I had to at least get my happiness outside since my husband couldn't. Adam is the kind of guy that would be romantic, shower you with love and all, but when it came to affection, making a lady happy, he dismally failed. Which led me to crave for something else. Something that would make me happy and feel complete. I wanted to be myself. I have seen one of Adam's friends with his wife and the way the guy was treating his wife, touching his wife. I wanted that. I craved it, and I got it from Pascal, even though it was all lust and affection. There were feelings, but I don't think it was love feelings. But as time went on, I began to feel guilty about my affair with Pascal. I knew that I was hurting Adam. the man I had promised to love and cherish for the rest of my life. But what would I have done if he didn't care about my happiness and my desires? The only thing he would do was to shower me with gifts, romantic dinners, and love, but that was not enough for me. I didn't need any materialistic things from him. I needed his attention, affection, and happiness. Sometimes love alone is not enough, right? I knew that there was something he knew about my affair with Pascal, but I didn't want him to know that I was actually feeling something for the guy. I felt like the abomination that I had done was written all over me, and it didn't help with the guilt I was feeling. I knew there and then that my relationship was hanging on a very high and dangerous cliff. You know, when you get that feeling that tells you that everything you had worked hard for was about to go south instead of north side. That was what I had felt, and I couldn't even blame anyone for it. About a week later, a delivery guy came to the house stating that he had come to deliver the parcel when I asked who had sent it. He told me what all other delivery guys usually say. "I don't know, ma'am, I'm just a delivery guy." My conscience told me that maybe it was something from my business clients. Little did I know that it was actually a letter that stated that he wanted me to move out of the house. I thought I was going crazy, like my mind was about to burst like a bomb. I couldn't believe why Adam would just decide to send me such things. Why couldn't he sit down with me and talk like a married and matured couple, but he went out there and filed for full ownership of the house. I couldn't let him win just like that. If he wanted to go, he should have told me, but not to go to our family lawyer and file for a full ownership of the house. I was actually given 2 weeks to vacate the house, or else legal actions would be taken against me. And I knew that even if I was to try and fight him, I wouldn't win because I was the one who went outside my relationship and committed adultery. I called our family lawyer and asked for an urgent meeting with Adam because everything was going through our lawyers. So when we got there, I asked Adam why he wanted to take full ownership of our house. I mean, it's not like he wouldn't afford to buy another one. The answers he gave me were more than enough to make me depressed and think of the worst of myself. He showed me and our families, my Nana and his parents, a video and pictures of me and Pascal in our secret locations. When I saw the first video of me and Pascal getting it on, I felt so humiliated. I didn't know what to do nor say because there was no denying anything since the evidence was right in our faces. I couldn't even look at my Nana because I felt like I knew what her face looked like. She was embarrassed and felt like she was let down by me. And I did let her down and humiliated her image and my fiancé's in the worst way possible. I tried pleading with Adam to at least have mercy on me and not kick me out of the house. I know that I could afford my own place, but the house was my happy and peaceful place. My fiancé didn't want to think his decision through. I really thought that he was going to be reasonable since he once claimed to love me. I mean, Adam and I shared a lot and we had been through a lot together. Didn't that count for something maybe? The guy just told us that he was done talking and the call he would like to receive would be the call that tells him that I had signed the papers and that my 2 weeks of vacating his house was almost over. So I had to decide fast where I would go, but he wanted me out of the house. Only if I knew that my desires of exploring something else outside my relationship would get me into this mess, I wouldn't have started it. I couldn't eat nor do anything the way I was so depressed. I stayed in my bedroom for the whole week, much to my Nana's annoyance and disapproval, to close myself in my room. I looked like a junkie in the street, and it was all my fault. Later on, after I had done having a self-pity party, I decided to get out of my room. My Nana even called my brother to come and plead with me to come out of the room. I started attending sessions. Even now, I'm still attending them. I just feel like Adam and I can still make everything work, you know. I miss my husband so much, and I am in so much denial to the fact that all that we had worked hard for and had gone through would just vanish just like that. Time passed, and I received a call from Adam, which was a huge surprise for me. I was somewhat happy but curious. He asked me to come to the house so we could have a proper talk and told me that he had missed me. As much as I was happy with what he told me, curiosity got the better of me. So I told my Nana that Adam had called and wanted to speak to me, so I was going to our house, or let me say his house. 2 days later, I went to meet up with Adam at his house. We had a talk, you know. I was just glad that I had a civilized talk with Adam. I apologized for going outside our relationship to find comfort in another man's arms. I told him that I was feeling lonely since he wasn't there most of the time, and our sexual moments were no longer the same, which was what pushed me to get it somewhere else. He also apologized on his side and promised to change. His apology looked and sounded so sincere to the point that I even believed him, you know. He confessed that his actions were selfish, but what he had discovered about me really broke him. We said a lot to each other, and he listened attentively. I think he understood the damage his mistrust had caused, the pain he had inflicted upon me. I really thought he wanted us to fix things. He even asked me to move back to the house so that we would be able to mend our relationship and patch where it needed to be. Because I loved him, Heck, I still love him to death even now. I accepted his request of moving back in. My heart was happy and at peace because I was going back to the one that owned my heart. Everything was just going well and I wouldn't ask for more. We were supposed to be building and fixing our relationship and mend the broken hearts. At least that's what I thought. I even told my Nana that I was moving back with Adam because we had fixed things. My Nana was happy about that and gave a long advice speech to never be careless like I was and always respect my relationship. On the other hand, I had been ignoring Pascal on Discord and I didn't even bother to answer his calls. I had not ended things with him, but I knew that I had to end it somehow because there were chances that my husband and I were going to fix things. After some time, I decided to be brave and end things with Pascal because I loved Adam, and I believed that he was the one for me and no one else. I had always imagined myself spending my whole life and growing old with my first love. I couldn't risk Adam having second thoughts about our relationship, as I thought that would destroy and jeopardize our relationship. Adam was the missing piece in my heart and soul, while Pascal was the happiness that I had been longing for too long. Adam and I worked so hard to fix the issues that he had, but eventually we conquered it all. I was grateful for the fact that he had allowed me to help him get through everything and somehow be able to forgive and move on. I was in another dimension of happiness. I had my man back. Our relationship was going smooth up until one fateful night, and that night ruined me. It crushed my soul to pieces that cannot be repaired. I really thought that everything was going well between Adam and I, but I was just fooling myself. A few months later, my relationship with Adam looked promising. We were inseparable. Yes, we had our fair share of ups and downs, arguments and misunderstandings, just like every couple, but it was all just fake. I really thought we had something good going on. Little did I know that I was actually fooling myself. Time passed, my life was slowly crumbling down. I had no idea what was going on and what may be the cause of everything. I had notified my Nana about what was going on. She suggested that I pray, and she would also pray for me on her side. I was so grateful for that, but even prayers didn't do any justice. You know, when every wall that surrounds your life comes crumbling down, and the worst part is you don't even know what caused it to crumble down because it didn't have any crack or damage. That was how my life turned. It suddenly became something that I don't even know how and where I would explain how it was. You know, there was this day where I was just going through my restaurant books just to check how everything was going. That day I had decided that I would be working from home because I was too lazy to drive. During my work, I received a call from the restaurant manager. At first, I couldn't make out what she was saying because she was speaking too fast. I asked her to speak slowly. That was when she managed to tell me that I had to rush to the restaurant because there was an emergency that needed my attention. The way she sounded like she was panicking made me think that something big had happened at the restaurant. I didn't stay any longer. I called Adam and notified him about what was happening. He promised to be there after work. You know, I felt my soul leaving my body that time when I saw my restaurant in flames like that. I felt empty inside. I didn't even know what to do. I felt like I was suffocating, you know. As I was still in that depressing mode, Pascal came. I don't know when he came and where he came from. I just saw him coming to console me. I needed a hug and someone to tell me that everything was going to be okay and that I was just dreaming. My mind was all over the place. I didn't even notice when Adam had arrived. I heard Adam calling my name. That was when I came back to my senses. I didn't even realize that I had been holding Pascal for too long and too tight. I was even ashamed of looking at my husband at that time. I didn't even know when Adam got to the scene. When our eyes locked, I saw some other person that I didn't even know nor recognize. The person that was ogling at me didn't look like my loving and caring fiancé. His eyes were full of rage, hatred, and hurt. I had hurt my husband and destroyed my relationship and marriage in the most humiliating way. I hated myself and still do hate myself for that, but I had to try and explain why I had done what I did and apologize right. So the next day, when I had seen that he was no longer enraged like he was the previous night, I asked to speak to him. I was glad that as much as his tempers kept coming back, but he was not violent, well, at least towards me. So I explained everything to him from point A to point Z. I tried making him understand that I didn't do what I did on purpose, and it wasn't my intention to destroy what we had. A week later, Adam told me to prepare a feast because we would be having guests. That time he was, I don't know how I would put it, but he wasn't like the day he saw me hugging Pascal. I obliged with what he said and prepared everything. I didn't even ask what the occasion was and who those people were. I did my wifely duties, but my heart kept beating too fast for a normal heartbeat. It felt like it was going to explode in an instant. Later on, Adam came back with 3 women. He introduced them by their names, which was very odd, but I didn't pay much attention to it. He then commanded me to go and wear my lingerie and join the party. I was skeptical at first, but the way he looked at me made me stop asking questions and do as he said. There was this time when he came back from work. His shirt had lipstick on it and there were hickeys on his chest and his neck. So recently he told me that he had a craving of doing it, with another woman while I watched. And I made it clear that I was not interested, that I was monogamous, and that I would not accept him being with another woman in bed as it is cheating. I've been cheated on in the past and it made me a little emotional to tell him of this. He told me that me having boundaries made him feel uncomfortable and that I'm always creating issues and starting arguments while he tries his best to make our relationship perfect. We argued a lot about it on various occasions, and I eventually forced myself to tell him that I'd be okay if he did it with another woman. It made me very sad, but as long as he was happy, I was a bit scared to argue again. Fast forward to a few months ago, he told me he wanted a threesome, and I hesitated before saying yes, against my will. I knew that he was doing that on purpose because he wanted to avenge himself after what I did with Pascal. We did take part in a threesome with a girl he arranged it with, and it was the most unpleasant and uncomfortable experience of my life. Later on, we argued a lot about it, and he told me that I was selfish for not considering his feelings and that I should have told him I was not okay with it sooner. I did, and he still got angry. He even reminded me about the promise or threat that he had told me before. Mind you, I had even forgotten about it, and I regretted everything in an instant. Just because of a small mistake that I made, a lot was done and ended up getting tied up and forced to watch my partner cheat with 3 other people. Can you believe that? I know it sounds like something out of a movie, right? But unfortunately, it was all too real for me. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw what was happening right in front of me. I kept thinking to myself, this can't be happening. How did I end up in this situation? It was like a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. And the worst part? No one would believe me if I told them what happened. They would think I was making it up or exaggerating. But I swear it was the truth. As if that was enough, he decided to tie me in the chair and made me watch him making out with those 3 women that he had come with. Can you imagine? I couldn't watch it anymore because my tears were clouding my vision. I wanted to just pass out and never wake up at that moment. I felt like my heart was ripped off my chest. He forced me to look at them and asked how it felt. I mean, I really thought Adam was crazy there, and no sane person would torture the person they claimed to love like he did. I swear I died a million times there, witnessing your partner enjoying intimacy with other women. Really cut deep. I asked him to stop, I wanted what I felt in my soul to stop torturing me. That time I was wet and heartbroken. What they were doing was what was supposed to be me and my fiancé. I couldn't watch it any further. I tried closing my eyes, but I could still hear them, the moans and the groans they were doing. I had never thought that there were actually women who enjoyed seeing another woman in misery and sadness. My cries were just in vain. They didn't even faze Adam. I knew there and then that the person that I had thought I knew, I actually didn't know him. I asked myself why Adam would want to fix things with me while he knew that he wanted to use me and plot revenge for my abomination. I sometimes hate my life and how naive I am when it comes to my relationship with Adam. I know that I had done him wrong in the worst way possible, not once but twice. I know that I had disrespected him before when he found me hugging Pascal, but that didn't mean I deserved such a harsh revenge. Those women were enjoying every moment with my man while I watched like I was just an audience. I begged Adam to untie me, but it felt like my plea was falling in deaf ears. Not even one of them dared to look at me. They were in their own planet and enjoying every moment of the bullshit that they were doing. During that torture and evil moment that Adam was busy performing, he confessed that he was the one who tempered with electricity cables and cords that made my restaurant burn to ashes. I couldn't believe it, to say I was shocked would be an understatement. I felt like I was losing my mind. I fought to break free from that chair that I was tied in. I felt the rage that I didn't even think that it was there. I felt a ping of hatred over Adam. How could he destroy me like that? I would keep asking myself silently, where could I have gone wrong? I kept trying to remind myself at least something that I had done that would make Adam do something like this to me. I really thought that we had something special. I would say that that night was the most bad, traumatic, and humiliating day or night for me. It won't be easy to just forget and move on from it. My mind took me to my affair with Pascal, which was somewhat something that made us break up in the first place. But I would also console myself by saying that Adam wouldn't have taken me back if he hadn't forgiven me. I mean, he wouldn't have called me while I was at my Nana's place and asked me to come back to our or his house. I knew that Adam was a blunt person, but I never thought he was evil and unapologetic. It wasn't like maybe I was seeing my father or brother naked by mistake. I mean, that would be easy to just apologize and move on. But what was happening in front of me was the fact that I was literally forced to watch my man banging other women, not one but 3 women. I really wished for the universe to have mercy on me and take me to my peaceful resting place. I cannot unsee what has happened. It always haunts me. Okay, he might have destroyed me and my heart, but was it necessary for him to also destroy what I had worked hard for to build? I couldn't recognize the snake and the devil that was in front of me. My heart just loathes at him. He didn't just destroy my restaurant and my heart, but he had destroyed the only thing that was putting food on the table at my Nana's house. He had taken away the only thing that kept my Nana alive. I didn't know how to deal with everything because the only thing that I can remember is waking up on the hospital bed, with my Nana on the side and the devil himself. I don't really remember what really happened that led me to wake up in hospital. When I woke up, my Nana was the first one to see me. I couldn't hold my tears any longer. So I broke in my Nana's chest. I couldn't even look at Adam. I loathe even his existence, but the half of my heart still loves him. Is it normal for a person to still love someone who had destroyed them and broken them? Till this day, I am still battling with recovery. I have not healed, and I don't think I will anytime soon. But my soul is begging for peace. What can I do to find peace?